All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to put on our detective hats and dig into one of the most critical day one tools in your AWS account, CloudTrail Event History. It's the very first place you'll look to answer that all-important question, who did what and when?
Okay, so picture this. It's a totally normal afternoon. You're working away and boom, a critical EC2 instance, one of your key servers just disappears. It's gone. Your heart sinks a little, right? Was it an accident, a deployment script gone rogue, or something else? You need answers and you need them like yesterday. And this is where AWS CloudTrail Event History becomes your best friend. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like a security camera that's just always on, always recording what's happening in your AWS account. It logs every important action, giving you a super clear record. For those immediate what just happened moments, this is always your first stop.
So let's get into the nitty-gritty. What exactly makes event history so useful, right out of the box?
The first and maybe most important number you need to burn into your brain is 90. 90 days. That's the window event history gives you into your account's activity. If something happened in the last 3 months, you can see it. But, and this is a big but, anything older than 90 days is gone. Poof. Vanished from this view.
Now, here's what makes it so powerful. That record is immutable. That's just a fancy way of saying that once an event is logged, it's set in stone. It cannot be changed, it cannot be deleted. And that's absolutely crucial if you want an audit trail you can actually trust. You can look, you can search, but nobody can rewrite history. And you know what the best part is? It's already working for you, right now. Event history is on by default in every single AWS account, and checking it out costs you absolutely nothing. It doesn't matter if an action happens in the web console, through the command line, or from an SDK. It captures it all, and it logs that event right in the AWS region where it all went down.
Now, this is a really, really critical distinction to understand, what it actually records. Event history tracks what we call management events. Think of these as actions that create, modify, or delete your resources, things like creating a new user, launching a server, or deleting a storage bucket. What it doesn't record are data events. These are those super high volume actions, like every single time a file is read from an S3 bucket. It's just too noisy for this view.
Okay, so we get the what. Now let's talk about the how. How do we actually use this thing to find the clues we need? Well, there are two main ways we're going to look at: the friendly visual AWS console and the super powerful command line interface. Starting with the AWS console is for sure the easiest way to get your feet wet. You just pop over to the CloudTrail service in your account, click on Event History, and you're in. From there, it's really all about filtering. You narrow down the noise to find exactly what you're looking for, and then you can click on any event to see every last detail. And when you start filtering, you'll probably find yourself using 3 attributes more than any others. Event name lets you look for a specific action, like terminate instances. Username is perfect for tracking everything a specific person or role has done. And event source helps you zero in on a particular service, like EC2. Here's a perfect practical example. Let's say you want to see every single time someone has logged into the AWS console. It's so simple. You just filter the event name for console login. That's it. Instantly, you've got a detailed log of all console access. It's that easy. So the console is fantastic for those quick visual searches. But what if you need to automate things? What if you need to pull this data into a script to analyze it? Well, for that kind of power, we need to turn to the AWS command line interface, or the CLI. The core command you're going to use is surprisingly simple: AWS CloudTrail lookup events. If you just run that by itself, it'll spit back a list of the most recent management events right in the AWS region you're currently in. It's the perfect starting point for any command line detective work. But of course, you usually want something specific, right? So you just add a lookup attribute to filter. In this example, we're basically telling the CLI, hey, show me every single time the run instances event happened. This is exactly how you could programmatically track every news server that gets launched. And what you get back is this rich chunk of JSON just packed with juicy details. I mean, look at this little snippet here. You don't just see the event. You see the source, the timestamp, the IP address it came from, and, most importantly, the user identity. In this case, devadmin. That's your smoking gun right there. So, event history is fantastic. It's amazing for those quick, recent investigations. But it's not a silver bullet, and it's just as important to know its limits so you know when it's time to reach for a more powerful tool. Okay, so let's run through the big ones. We already hammered on the 90-day retention, but you also got to remember your search is locked to a single AWS account and a single region at a time. You can't do complex searches with multiple filters at once, and there are even limits on how much you can download. So you're probably thinking, well, what happens when those limits are a deal breaker? What if my company needs to keep logs for years to meet compliance roles? Or what if I need to search for one event that happened across my entire organization? That's when you graduate. That's when you level up to a full-blown CloudTrail trail or even CloudTrail Lake. Think of it this way. Event history is for quick lookups. Trails are for long-term, indefinite archival. And CloudTrail Lake, that's the next level, where you can pull in logs from your entire organization and run complex SQL queries against them. Event history is the detective's notepad. Trails and Lake are the full forensic lab. Here's the key takeaway. Event history is active in your AWS account right now. It's recording everything. It's completely free to explore. So the real question I have for you is, what answers are waiting in your account's history? Go take a look. The clues to your account's most recent mysteries are sitting right there, waiting for you to find them.